This is how my one-on-one client manifested a full-fledged relationship with her specific person. Hey guys, hope you're well, and in this video I'm going to be sharing a beautiful success story with you. This is going to be a success story of one of my one-on-one clients who manifested a full-fledged relationship with her specific person. In this story you have it all. You have third parties, you have past issues, you have self-worth issues, you have self-concept issues, and you will also see how to put up proper boundaries when it comes to yourself and how to put up proper boundaries when it comes to a relationship. So let's try to get into this video in full detail. I will try to explain it to you in a step-by-step manner, explain it to you in as much detail as I can, because I'm pretty sure that if you are someone who's manifesting love or a relationship, that you will absolutely learn something from this video. So let's get into it and let's understand it step by step. The first thing I will do is I will explain a little bit more about my client so that you understand her mindset first, and then you would be able to understand her situation and why it turned out that way. For the sake of this video, I will call her Sydney. So Sydney was a very shy kid since she grew up. Sydney actually had a sister who she was constantly compared to. When she was young, she was constantly compared to her sister. And this was a sister who was slightly elder to her. So in women, as she's growing up, her sister was the one getting more attention from men because she grew up earlier. She was the one who was giving tough exams. Sydney, on the other hand, was more into artistics. She wanted to focus on other areas. She wanted to focus on music, dance, things like that. But because this is not what her parents used to appreciate, Sydney was in a constant comparison with her sibling. Now, I give this example to a lot of my clients. So I don't know if you guys watch F1 racing. In there, the best and the most accurate comparison of how good you are is when you are compared with your own teammate, because these are people like in one team you have two cars, right? So you are going to have the most appropriate comparison with someone that you have in the same team because you have the exact same cars. Similarly, when you are compared by your parents with your real sibling, you have the most appropriate comparison in your mind. And when your parents treat one person different and the other one different, you will have proper effects on it, because your mind will constantly make you feel that you are the second option because your parents treat the other person differently, right? So at that age, because you cannot question your parents, you start questioning yourself. This also made her have a very terrible relationship with her sister, and she also, moving forward, didn't have great relationships with female as a whole, because in her mind females were something to compete against. There was no form of collaboration that was there in her mind in relation to females in the first place. This also made her struggle in her social life. Now, as Sydney grew up, she started to attract people who already had another person, or what I would say better is, she started getting attracted to people where there was a constant battle for attention. Why does that happen? So when you are growing up and you have always seen that the best way to actually gain that validation is to compete and win, you will often find partners with whom you will do the same thing, where there will be another woman involved, and in your mind you would want to win one over her, because a part of your mind feels that that is the only way through which I can get validation. That is the only way through which I can feel like I have won. So in her mind, because she couldn't win her parents' attention and she couldn't beat quote unquote her sister, she tried to pick a guy in her life through which, when there was another girl involved, she could beat her and feel that she has won. So she was very young when she picked a guy in her life who had another person involved. This guy was constantly cheating on every person. Like he was cheating on the girl that he was dating, then he was cheating on Sydney. He was doing all these things very regularly. But in Sydney's mind, without even knowing, this was the perfect opportunity for her to showcase her self-worth. She thought that if I can win this guy, if I can win this guy's attention, approval, validation, and a commitment from him, that would mean the best thing, because no other girl can and no other woman has been able to pin him down. So I will try to spend time to win his validation, because it's not just about this person, it's about me feeling that I'm worth it. And the only way I will feel worth it is if I have won a guy's validation, and that too only if I have beaten another female to do it. That is the competition that became in her mind. So this is what she was consistently doing. She consistently was trying to gain this guy's validation. and this pattern kept on going on for a while. So the issue with these patterns is, at the start they start because of your conditioning, but the more time you spend on it, the more you gain attachment, the more you develop obsession, the more the battle becomes important to you, right? So this happened for a few months, then it happened for a year, then it happened for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. This pattern kept on going on in her life for 5 years. In these 5 years, just imagine her misery. That is what I was thinking about when I was first talking to her. First, she feels rejected by her parents. Then, she's in a situation where she doesn't have female friends. Then, she's constantly rejected by this guy. And the issue is, without even knowing, she's picking these situations in her life. So, when we say that you need to take responsibility, a big reason why taking responsibility in this situation was important, which she absolutely did, was because unless and until she takes responsibility that I had a role to play in it, there is no point of trying to change it. Because if I'm saying that life is just happening to me, then it doesn't matter if I change myself. But if I'm saying that I can take responsibility, that this is what I did to make this happen, consciously or unconsciously, only then I can say that if I change my patterns, my life will change, right? So if I can say that the positive actions of my life have an effect, then also negative ones in my life have an effect, and that is the more important part of taking responsibility. She took full responsibility here. So after this, she got out of this situation. Now this is where things get tricky. As she got out of this situation, which was a highly unhealthy situation for her, after that she didn't date people for a few years. After that, she met a guy. Now this is in the middle time, her social life was slowly improving. She was also meeting a few more females where she used to feel collaborative, and things like that were happening. So think about it this way: after this, she met a guy. Now this guy was normally nice, right? He was just a nice person, but in her mind, he's nice into 10. I will help you understand this with the help of an example. This is called framing. Everything is a frame, right? Let's say I take you to a hotel, right? And I tell you that the price of this food is $1, right? And in your mind, unless and until you have been to other hotels, you don't know if $1 is actually a cheap price or if $1 is actually a high price, right? Let's say after this you go to another hotel and the price of the same dish is $10. In your mind, it would feel that this hotel is expensive because the frame that is created is compared to that $1. But let's say you go to a third hotel, and when you go to the third hotel, the price of the same dish is $50. Now the $10 one would feel cheaper, even though the price remains the same. What will matter is which hotel you went to first. If you went to the $50 hotel first, the $10 and the $1 one would feel cheap. If you went to the $1 hotel first, the $10 one would feel expensive, right? It is not because the price of that thing is changing, it is just because you are putting in a different frame. The same thing was happening in her situation. Because she had already met a $1 guy, even a $10 guy was feeling such a big thing. He was feeling so pedestalized, and he was someone who at the start wasn't giving her commitment. And he was not lying about it. From a starting point, he had mentioned to her that I have recently broken up with one of my girlfriends and I'm not ready to fully date yet. In her mind, she thought that, you know what, no guy, including my father, has treated me right. This guy is treating me very, very good. But in her mind, that good was very, very pedestalized, right? So I will stick around in this situation and I will go with the friends with benefits even though I don't want it. She started the situation this way. The guy was very respectful, things were going properly, even though at this time he was still in touch with his ex. Now, this is the time, like after staying in this situation for around a year, this is the time when she came to work with me. So, when we first had a chat, we worked about all these things. We talked about these things, we talked and discussed about all of her patterns. I explained to her why she's doing what she's doing, just like I have explained to you. So, we talked about these things. So, the first thing that we did is we actually, like I asked her, why are you in this friends with benefits scenario? Is it something because you really want to be here, or is it because you feel that if I don't stay here, I will never get what I want? She said the answer to that is the second one. This is where we had to communicate and create a boundary with this guy. So we communicated it with him. We told him that, hey, even though we have a lovely connection, at this moment I'm looking for a relationship in my life, and at this moment you are not. So that is fine, but I would like to step away from this, not to blame you or anything, but because I want to spend more time with myself and go in a direction where my needs are being fully met. Do you see, this way of putting up a boundary is not blaming the other person, it's putting up a boundary for you. It is putting up a boundary for yourself. It is not putting someone else down. That is the reason of putting up a boundary. A lot of times we confuse it. We feel that if I have to put up a boundary, it has to come because I need to blame the other person. No, it can just come because you have a different want from what the other guy wants. That is what we did. Now, after we did that, we started working on her. I gave her a lot of self-concept work. I gave her a lot of inner child meditation. And one thing that she was very consistent with is that she was very consistent with constantly reframing her perceptions in her mind. So, a common misconception that people have is that once I give you affirmations or a routine, you will never face resistance. That's actually quite the opposite. Once you start working on yourself, your resistance levels will actually increase, because when you start to work on the real issues, your old self tries to fight it. So her resistance levels were actually increasing. Her resistance was actually coming up a lot. But this is where she was not letting her emotions sway her decisions. She knew that these doubts and thoughts will come up. She was taking responsibility that I'm not a victim here. These are things that were created because I had a full role to play in it. And that is what she accepted with herself. She didn't change her decision. She didn't run away from it. She accepted that this is the role that I have to play in it, and these are the things I will do differently now. This is how she started working on herself. Lo and behold, this guy came to her after 4 months of her persisting and doing all these things. Did she eventually suddenly manifest things in 4 months? No, she is still a work in progress. It's just that she was consistently working on herself without looking for results. She told me that, Karan, I would rather stay single for the rest of my life than to be in a relationship which is unhealthy. And I want you to teach me how to work on myself. Getting a guy and all these things are going to be a byproduct of that, and that is my secondary focus. Even if I don't get this guy, I still want to work on myself. And you know what? That is the reason that she actually succeeded. That is the reason that she got what she wanted, because she did work on herself for her. This guy came to her, told her that I am actually ready to commit to you, to give you everything that you want, because over this past 4 months, 3 months, I have been working on myself a lot. I realized that I had lost something because I was giving you up, and I really don't want to do that. I really want you as a part of my life, and I would love to be with you. I would love to be in a relationship with you. And after expressing his feelings to this girl, this guy also told her that I have also cut total contact from my ex because I wouldn't want to be in contact with her while I'm still trying to make this relationship work with you. My client, because she had decided that she's going to work on herself, told him that that is great, but I wouldn't instantly want to get into a commitment first. I would first want to spend a little bit more time with you, dating you, and then I would decide to get into a commitment. Now, the reason that prompted me to post this video is because my client recently texted me telling me that she had decided to give into it and she wanted to be in a committed relationship with this person now, because she has been dating him for around 4 to 5 months consistently and they had been going good. Do you see how much work she has done on herself? That even when she wanted something, it came to her and she said, wait a minute, prove yourself to me. First, let me see a change in your actions before I decide on a commitment. And there is also another great news coming soon, for which I will post a different success story. So I hope that you guys learned something from this. I know that this is a very knowledge-packed success story. And I hope that you guys learn this and you also apply this in your life. I will see you guys in the next video and I hope you have a great day.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe and share if you like the video. The link for my one-on-one coaching, my self-help courses, and my free newsletter are in the description box below.